Hi, everybody. I am so happy to be here with Bill and Connie DeKramer of Amazing Health Effortlessly. That's the name of their website, and I'm going to post it in the chat box. So here's the deal with Bill and Connie. They have been helping people restore health and lose weight naturally for over 30 years. Okay? But catch this, their real passion was discovering the truth of who they really are and how life works. Well, doesn't that sound interesting and curious? Like I'm interested and curious how these two meld together, how we work and the truth of who we really are, and losing weight effortlessly and naturally. That's what I want to know. So they spent years in meditation communities. And in fact, Bill was a teacher of transcendental meditation, TM. Remember that? And despite all of their years of practice and sitting with spiritual teachers, there was a missing link bridging what they were learning and being able to live it in their lives as well. So when they came across the three principles, they found the bridge that they were looking for. They found bringing the principles into their business with people restoring health not only provided the means for their clients to make change, but they found that the coaching improved their lives in other areas as well. And that's what I love about the principles also, that it's not one unidimensional, that once you find it in one area, it starts to manifest in other areas. How does that work? So welcome, Bill and Connie. Yeah, I'm excited about hearing what you have to share with us.
We had this business that came out of the fact that we both restored some health conditions with whole foods. So we saw, well, this can go together. People are looking for this, as opposed to the more standard approach to health and natural weight loss. And so we were having great success with the business and the people we were working with, being able to restore their health, get off their meds. Healthy body doesn't carry excess weight, so weight would fall away naturally. But with some of the people, after 6 months, 12 months, it was a 6-week course we did, we would see them and they've got the weight back on and they're experiencing the conditions that they had when they came to us. And we had to scratch our heads. It's like, why would somebody, when they have real such a change in their lives? In fact, some people would say things like, oh, you've given me my life back. They were having these great insights and great success. And then 12 months later, they've left it all behind. So it's like, well, what is that about? So we saw there was like a mental emotional piece that was wedged in this sandwich of knowing what to do to feed the body to be healthy, but to stay on the program was up here. So we tried everything for years. We shared meditation techniques and the work from Byron Katie and this Totally Responsible Person program I did. And although it all kind of made sense to help people deal with stress and problems, difficulties in their lives, nothing stuck. So we heard Amy Johnson on a podcast, I think.
A weight loss summit.
A weight loss seminar.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a summit.
So we went on the podcast to hear what other people were doing in the weight loss industry, not looking for principles, didn't think it was a spiritual thing at all, because actually the context of the weight loss seminar was not spiritual, but Amy explained this understanding and its relationship to weight loss in a way that both of our antennas went up. It's like, whoa, she's talking about weight loss, but she's talking about something way deeper. It seemed like maybe this is what we've been looking for to help our clients with.
Yeah, and after spending so many years with spiritual teachers and recognizing at a certain point that that was not where truth was found for me, but it was going to be found within. And then hearing Syd after meeting Amy, because we were so interested in what she was speaking about, he confirmed so much of my own experience that I just knew there was something here to pursue. So we talked with Amy about becoming 3P coaches, and we became certified with her. And we just love what we're doing because it's a flip, actually. We think the difficulty or what it is we're trying to achieve is the problem, that it creates the angst that we feel. And actually, what we find is the flip is the problem is a beckoning into more of who we are. That it actually is in our lives to support us to evolve, to grow, to expand, to open, to get curious about who we really are.
Yeah, so the thing that's been the most impressive to me is we saw that this provided the bridge that we had always been looking for in our own lives. Because all of these years of study and practice, spiritual practice, that gave us such an intellectual understanding, conceptual understanding of who we really are. I am love. But what I saw after we started understanding the principles and listening to Syd and the other practitioners was that as long as I continued to look at the world as though it worked outside in, it didn't matter how clear those concepts were held in my mind. They couldn't work because I was looking out there to make it work. So as we started to hear Syd and the other practitioners, we began to realize, oh, it's an inside out thing. And it just went so quickly. It was like, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. And now I can look back at all the teachers we sat with and see, oh yeah, their message was perfect.
We were a little slow to get it.
You're muted, Lori, you're muted.
I know exactly. I had the same experience that I can go back now and read these, books that I had read, spiritual masters, and now I know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
So keep going. I didn't want to interrupt you, but
no, interrupting. No problem.
Yeah. So that was just so fulfilling, that we had seemingly worked so hard, we were so dedicated, and that even though we were given all that we needed, it was just this missing link, to building that bridge between what was being shared and beginning to live it in our own lives, was that, oh, it works inside out, not outside in. So it didn't matter how, I would do all these hours of meditation and know that I'm love and feel so good. And then Connie would say something and I'd get triggered. And it's like, why can't I find the love? Because I'm believing that what she said was the problem. So I just need to fix that and then I'll feel the love again. And of course, that's not real good on the relationship. But isn't that the way it is? And as soon as we saw, oh, it's inside out. And that's not to say I don't still get triggered, but it can't last. It can't last anymore. Because still, I have a human mind, and it still is going to look like the problem just came, it's what she said, or it's what that driver did, or it's what that customer in the store did. And it looks like that's the trigger, but it can't last very long anymore because I've seen that it doesn't work that way. So there's still the habit of the mind, to try to make sense of the world. And to the mind, because I experience the world through my senses, to the mind, it looks like what's outside me is what creates what I experience inside. So there's that seduction of the mind, you might say, like being in an amazing 3D movie theater. And it seems, looks, feels so real. But since we've been working with the principles, we don't lose sight of the fact that we're in a theater. So I can still get really scared in a scary scene in the theater, but it can't last very long because I have had the experience. I'm in the theater, and oh, it's inside us, just my thinking, and that thought then can go right on by. So if I've been triggered and I really get into it, it's almost like the trigger, and I think this is what Connie was pointing at about a difficulty actually being a benefit in our lives, a kind of an invitation to open and grow. Now when I get triggered, it's like I'm aware of that feeling, that trigger, that tension, that constriction within. And that's almost like, well, to use an analogy, almost like the check engine light on your car, you know? Everything seems fine, check engine light. If I keep barreling down the road, once that light comes on, usually doesn't work out well. But now that feeling of tension and anxiety doesn't last very long before I'm aware that, oh, it's not actually out there that I need to manage and get them to stop saying that or stop doing that. It's just right here. And in that coming back, in that pause, like pulling the car off to the side of the road for a moment, it's so clear, it's just thinking that there's no way to keep going down that old road.
The pedal off the metal, so to speak, backing away from it so that you're not pushing so hard. I loved what you said about that finally you found a bridge, because I never, before hearing Syd Banks speak about the formless energy coming into the world of form, I had never heard it expressed in that way, that there's a bridge, this bridge called mind, thought, and consciousness. We can't see it, it's invisible, but we know that we are taking neutral, formless energy, bringing it into the world of form to give us an experience, whether it's an experience of, darn, we have to stay on our diet, or an experience of, man, I feel so fortunate that I'm in control. If I want to go off my diet today, yay, go do it, and I'll go back on a whatever, healthy diet. Right? Like, do you do that also? Like you found a way to be healthy in a really comfortable way that's not pressure, it's not forcing yourself, like behavior modification would be an outside in and external technique, but you just come to trust in your own inner peace of mind and innate health to direct you back on track when you get off track. You don't get off track for as long. At least that's how it's been for me.
Yeah, that's well said. Well, what we like to do is we start people off eating food that they connect with their own inner wisdom more clearly. And they end with following their own inner wisdom. No program. But we want to develop that connection to what my body directs and guides so effortlessly, as clear as possible. And so the first 5 weeks of our 6-week program, we give direction and have them eat whole food, plant-based to really feel the body thrive. And all the time that we're working with them in that 5 weeks, we are guiding them more and more to listen within and to be present with food, that when we want to eat something that's off the track and we know it isn't good for us, and we're even looking for relaxation or respite, if we check in and get to eat it with presence, be fully present. And then notice especially what you feel when you swallow it. Notice how your body receives it. So everything, even the off the tracks, our learnings are moving us forward into more of who we are. And we do one-on-one coaching each week. So if that helps us to take them further faster. But if there are any problems, we're there to meet them. We do video lessons. We do amazing recipes. And we invite people to follow those or to use them as inspiration to create their own. It's a full immersion project, but
immersions are the best. I love immersion programs. Yeah.
Yeah. The bottom line is that we want to learn more and more of who we are and follow our own wisdom. Nothing from the outside, but from within.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
the ultimate goal.
Yes. Because our wisdom tells us that's not going to be the best for you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so many of our clients have been dieting, some of them since they were 10 years old, now they're in their 60s even. And so they know the whole diet thing. And some time ago, they will tell us, I was done with diets. I don't know why I'm actually coming to you, because I'm not going to do another diet. And what's nice is that this isn't a diet, because what we're encouraging them to do is to listen to their own body's wisdom and create a healthy foundation for a healthy relationship with food. So in the same way that healthy foundation for a healthy relationship with Connie is by listening to my wisdom, staying settled enough hearing my wisdom as to how to relate, as opposed to listening to what sometimes my mind would suggest. And so
They'll play tricks on us for sure.
Yeah.
It's not that it's trying to sabotage me and my relationship, but it sees the world as outside in. So if I feel some anxiety about something about Connie, then it wants me to go fix Connie. But that doesn't work. That's what we've learned. So when I start to understand that my relationship with Connie will be best when I respond to the wisdom that I have, which is, of course, I think you could say the love, when I'm coming from the love that I am. The relationship's great. And so it's so neat to see, we kind of do it the other way around with our clients. They're starting to build a healthy relationship with food by listening to that inner wisdom. And isn't it interesting that if they listen to that same wisdom and how to relate to their husband or their kids or their job, they gain that same foundation of a healthy relationship. And what used to be problems, suddenly it's not happening that way anymore.
That's right. That's right. That's what we wrote about in The Secret of Love.
Beautiful.
That's exactly what we wrote about. And isn't it interesting that the same principles apply to taking care of ourselves as an individual person? Same principles apply to taking care of our relationship. Yeah.
Well, what? Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
What's been really fun, Lori, is we've attracted a number of people who have 3P background. And this food area has been a blind spot for them. And so they've wanted to get involved with us to open up the light on this subject. And it's been so fun because we're working with people who have an understanding of this, of the 3 principles already. We love that. That's just been the best.
They move really quick.
They move fast, yeah.
And when you get people who have never even heard of the 3 principles, then you can teach through this, this thing about our body and tuning in to the wisdom within us, looking within.
Yeah.
I didn't mention at the beginning when I was introducing you that I love doing these interviews. We're doing them once every 6 weeks during I think I'm going to actually move it up to once a month because I love them so much. And people really like, if they can't come on, then they love the recordings. Because it's such a great part of mystery school. I call it mystery school, where people get together and read and listen to Syd, and then to have people out in the world applying this understanding in their specific area.
True.
That just really brings it all to life beautifully.
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and what's fun too is the people that haven't had exposure to the principles before. Well, let me say it this way. It's not that they haven't had exposure to the principles before, because it is a principle of life.
Right.
Everybody already knows this.
Right.
But because of our conditioning, we keep trying to see life as outside in, so we overlook it. But what's so fun is that we start working with people, and just like you're saying, we just have them check in with the bodies. One of the things Connie suggests is when you go into the grocery store, stand in front of the produce section and see what you're drawn to. And it's so neat because they all know how to do that, and they all have a response.
Yes.
Wow, that shiny apple, those red strawberries, there is this communication if we get out of our heads and out of the list for food, for the recipes. They all know this connection to their wisdom.
Yeah.
So we don't have to teach them the principles because they know them. We just find ways to guide them to see how they've always had access. That's really cool.
And exactly. And you're letting them know what it is that they already know.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Because people don't know what they already know.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah.
But that's why, when we heard Syd speak, it was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I know that you're talking truth.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I know what you're talking about. That
Love it.
feeling? Like, yeah, I get that. Somewhere inside me, Syd would speak, and it's like truth. Yeah, I get it. Truth. Couldn't repeat what you just said, but it registers.
Well,
That's so interesting too, that recently I asked my primary care physician, what is it with me that I am eating salt? Like, I love salt, but the best salt, I have to have the best, the Himalayan pink or the Himalayan black. There's a difference. My body knows the difference. And she said to me, oh, that's because you have low blood pressure. So of course you're going to be drawn to salt. There's nothing unhealthy for you about salt.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. That's a perfect example. I wanted to say what's really sweet is people who don't have any exposure to the principles, they find themselves more interested in their own evolution, in their own spiritual development. Naturally, it's so, we love it so much what we're doing. You can tell we do.
I can tell for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? Oh, go ahead, Lori.
Yeah, just unmute yourself. Perfect time for questions. Yeah.
Well, I have high and low blood pressure, and I crave sweets.
Oh, that's good.
You know why you crave sweets, my dear? It's because you're eating either enough animal or processed foods that you're not getting enough nutrients to feel full on food that makes you thrive. It's really simple. Once you start to eat more whole food, more plant-based, and just adding vegetables to what you're already doing and fruits, you're going to feel differently. And everybody, without exception, loses their desire for sweets on our program. it just falls away. They don't even have to give it any mind.
And I read an article today about gastric bypass. And there is a lot of talk, discussions, opinions about the pro and cons of gastric bypass. And I would like to hear you talk about it.
Well, I'll start, Yvonne, because I was in the weight loss business for a number of years. And I met a lot of clients who have had gastric bypass surgery. And their lives were so difficult. It was so difficult for them to eat. To me, it expanded their difficulty. Now, I didn't know the principles then. I just saw what they were living, and I couldn't believe it. And it didn't keep them thin either.
That was the thing that surprised me. Their intention was to lose weight. We actually have several clients right now who have had the gastric bypass, and they're heavy. So it wasn't successful for any of the people that we've known who have done it. And they did it to lose weight. But the clients that we have now who have done it, they've started to lose weight with this program. So it's still unfolding. And it would be interesting to see the impact that understanding the principles could have with people and their relationship with food, if they're kind of in that stage where they're considering gastric bypass, and if it could get turned around, because I think that it has so much to do with their relationship with food, which is always the outside-in understanding, how most people relate to food. So there's a lot of conversation and confusion about it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you're saying relationship with your food. Do you remember 3 or 4 or 5 months ago on the Heartfelt Presence when I came after you, Bill? And you were talking about relationship with someone. And you said something, and I don't know what. The words is not important in this case. But I had a huge aha moment about relationship with my own thinking.
Great.
It's beautiful.
And in my since then it's showing up over and over again how my relationship with my own thinking is the key to almost not over to everything.
Yeah.
It's starting right there. My relationship with my own thoughts.
Yes. Yes.
And you, Bill, what you said or didn't say. I read George Pransky's book, Relationship Handbook, I think 3 or 4 times. First time in 2012. And it took until, February 2021 to really get what the most important relationship really is.
Yeah.
So thank you, Bill. That is one of the reasons I'm here tonight. I just wanted to say thank you again. Bill, I love you.
That was beautiful, Yvonne. That was I'm so glad you came tonight to express that. Because that's it. That's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? In everything. Everything.
everything.
True.
You know, like we can say to a partner, we can say, you know, I need a break, not from you. I just need a break. I need to get my head quiet, and you go to another room. We could do that with our own thinking.
Yeah.
Not go to another room, because wherever you go, you thinking is going to be with you. But knowing that, okay, I'm out of it right now. I'm thinking crazy,
Yeah.
and it won't last for long. So we don't have to buy into it and go along with it and follow our crazy thinking.
Yeah.
And we
exactly.
know when we're off. We know it. We just know it.
Right.
There's no way to explain it. Everybody knows when they are thinking ridiculous.
Yes.
Right?
And I think this points out too, even what we were saying earlier about difficulties as a doorway into who we really are.
Yeah.
Because
Say more. Yeah.
Every difficulty I think that we experience as a difficulty in our lives is because of the relationship we're having with that circumstance.
Yeah.
It's not the circumstance. So once we see that, oh, when I change that relationship, what it opens up is this doorway into seeing what's left.
Yeah.
When I let go of my thinking.
Yeah.
Which is me, which is love.
Yeah.
Well, I see, I mean, I'm just so goosebumps right now, even just you're sharing that insight. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to share one thing about that, Elon. Before actually I met Syd, I had an experience in the midst of great emotional difficulty. I mean, it was intense, where my mind went still. So then listening to Syd, he so confirmed what my experience was. And in that experience, I saw that this level of thinking that exists up here doesn't hold the truth, that it's very superficial, that the
Illusion.
truth, comes from deeper within. So that made a real shift in my life, major. And I've seen more since then, but it was in the midst of the greatest difficulty that occurred. It was the greatest difficulty of my life, I think.
And let's make me think about another thing the community is talking about. It's quieting down your thought storm, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I'm convinced that in the midst of any brass band blowing their lungs out, and as soon as they get their breath, the piccolo flute is possible to hear. And that piccolo flute is your wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. That's a lovely metaphor. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So you don't have to push people to quiet down or something. It can happen whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. True.
In my mind.
So true. Well, you know how Syd says we're always one thought away from a better experience. I'll be darned if that isn't true.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, have you noticed that in your life?
Yeah, that's the moment when the brass band is taking the breath and the piccolo flute is.
Yeah, right.
That's the one.
Right. You know, we're coming on to Thanksgiving now, and my best example of that in my own life was last Thanksgiving, pandemic, or maybe it was 2 Thanksgivings ago. I think I don't know. Anyway, it was a pandemic Thanksgiving, and I have this wonderful park within walking distance of my house, and it is always teeming with action, basketball, tennis, pickleball, little league, everything's going on there. It is so much fun. And half of the park is just wooded. And so you come out from this wooded area to all this activity. It's so cool. So this time it was raining and miserable and nobody was out. Pandemic. I woke up in a bad mood. Okay, bad mood. Oh, I'm alone. Pandemic. It's miserable out. I start walking and the place is like after a bomb, and I'm the only survivor. Nobody in this park, which is usually teeming with life. And something happened. I had the thought, wow, it's never going to look like this again. Out comes the phone. I'm taking movies of it. I am like in seventh heaven. One thought, from miserable down and out. I wasn't quite like, where's the rusty razor blade? I wasn't quite there, but I was not a happy camper. One thought, it's never going to look like this again. This is astounding. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the brass band stopped, took a breath, and you heard the piccolo, and it.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
It can be that simple. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And
Wasn't Syd a living example of one thought away? And somebody simply saying something like, Syd, you're not insecure, you just think you are.
Yeah.
That was it.
boom.
Yeah.
Magic. Magic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Wow, you two are doing amazing work, you know? And I can send because I get clients from time to time who they're debating whether or not to get gastric bypass surgery. And, you know, I discourage them, of course, from the things that I've heard. One of my clients is a nurse and she needs to lose weight, but she will not get gastric bypass surgery because of the things, you know, she has witnessed, things that go poorly. That's an outside-in approach.
Yeah.
That's an outside-in approach. And the thinking doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll perform an operation without recognition that if a person's thinking doesn't, their relationship to their thinking doesn't change, guess what happens?
It's like giving anxious people antidepressives. They are medicating the symptoms instead of going to the root. And
Yes.
without understanding how we are creating our experience of life, you can medicate how much until hell freezes. It won't help. Maybe for the day, but not in the long run. So, yeah.
We're very fortunate to have met this understanding. We're very
Yes, we are.
Oh, and someone just came on. Hi.
Hey, I think you had the time wrong. We've just been, hi, where are you?
Oh, I'm from Taiwan.
Taiwan.
Wow.
Yeah. I just recall that it should be 8 in the morning, but somehow I didn't get the notification.
Oh.
Oh, well,
On Wednesday, yeah, but your Tuesday is our Wednesday.
oh, yes. It's so, the time zone is really something. Well, you know, I don't know about Bill and Connie. Can you stay a little bit longer in case a young, I don't know if I can pronounce your name, Young So?
Yeah, great.
I did it. Well, that was a stroke of pure luck. Mind worked there, right? So do you have a question? And I'm recording this, so I will send you the recording. Just give me your email. Maybe you can send me your email and I'll send you the recording.
Okay.
Although you know where to find it. I'll tell everybody on the call where to find it. I don't even have to send it to you. I forget that we got it set up. It's on my YouTube channel. Just
Oh, YouTube. Yeah.
my name, Lori
Mhm.
Carpenos in YouTube, and it'll be on the Mystery School interviews.
Oh,
And by the way, anybody who would like to join Mystery School, with these discussions are the discussions we have after, right now we're reading The Enlightened Gardener.
Oh, great.
What a rich book that is. Wow. That is just, I'm on my third reading, you guys, and it's like a new book. It's so true that every time you read a Syd book, you see things that weren't there the last time. They just weren't there.
A new
right?
edition.
Did you have a question, young?
Oh. oh yeah, yes, if I may.
Yeah.
I have been listened to quite a lot of interviews, like you guys sharing great, very inspiring transformation stories, and a lot of times I was in tears, and I also listened to quite a lot of Syd's old takes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but somehow, yeah, I can't feel like what you shared, the feeling, the knowing inside that, oh, I don't have to search. I don't have that kind of feeling myself. And I do have a lot of patterns, like self-sabotaging myself. I got, whenever I got this sustained injury from the past, that I can't seem to find a way to release this kind of trauma inside. And yeah, my question, yeah, just can't, yeah, I can feel your shining, your love and support, but yeah, I just feel like if you can give some advice that.
What's so wonderful about this is that it never ends. Like you just keep seeing more and more. You have that experience, Iwan and Bill and Connie, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the one question that I would ask you, Yancho, you mentioned that you listen to the stories, these inspiring stories, and find yourself weeping in tears and listening. And so that feeling that you have when you listen to these stories, can you say a little something about that?
For example, a lot of times when I listen to DeKramer's speaking about the hopeless youngsters, like teenagers, like the young repair, everybody in school, in the system, say this girl is helpless, kind of like that. And then after one session, 2 sessions with Deacon, like the girl just opened up to life. Like that kind of story, that pretty amazing.
Well, do you notice how, as you listen to that story unfold, suddenly, just like that, you have that feeling. That feeling comes to you in listening to that story that is so deep and touching that it can bring tears to your eyes. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
If that's your experience? What if what is opening in you when you hear those stories is what you've been looking for.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, that's it. You know, we all have it. And that's beautiful that you allow yourself to be touched like that. And, you know, it'll happen whenever it happens. We don't know when it's going to happen. And then it'll happen another time. And it could kind of take you off guard. Yeah.
Yeah, and as I look back, Young Joe, even before I learned the principles, I can look back now and see how that was happening in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't quite have the full understanding of how life works inside out. So I would have that experience of opening, but I would try to understand it and put it into a context of outside in, and I would lose it.
Yeah.
It would come again and again in listening to a story. I love those movies, the Hollywood movies that display the triumph of the human spirit. You know, those feel-good movies. And it's like, I want to watch those movies. But I would always have to turn to the movie to find the feeling because I thought the movie put the feeling there.
Yeah.
But now I understand, oh, it's my thinking. And it's always accessible. I don't have to watch the movie, but I still love them.
Yeah.
So you are experiencing it. It is there.
Yeah.
And just like Kevin was saying, stay in the conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks for your question, Rachel.
Great to have you on with us, Young Sue. Yeah. What time is it there?
Just 9:09.
In the morning.
9:09.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it's not in the morning or the evening? It's
In the
gonna be in the
morning.
morning.
In the morning, yeah.
Yeah. You're like 12 hours
Ahead.
ahead of us. So
Yeah.
wait a minute. What day is it there? That's what it's Tuesday here. What day is it there?
No, it's Monday here. It's Tuesday there.
I mean, it's Monday, right?
Oh, yeah. Tuesday here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's Tuesday where you are, right? A day later.
Mhm.
Wow. That's very cool. Well, it's wonderful to have you. And this has been so great, Bill and Connie, you know, yeah. And
Thank you.
Ewan and Kevin, great to have you all with us.
You.
Yeah.
It's been great
So
for us. Thank you so much, Lori, for
Well, this
having
is-
us on.
What a blessing, Lori, that you keep bringing this out to the community in so many ways with your mystery school and with your videos, your YouTube channel. Just such a blessing.
you know, same with you. Like, can you help it? No, you can't.
Yeah.